So today's gonna be a pretty exciting day because I'm hoping to get the Canon 28-70 f2.8. I really wanna test it out, and it's actually gonna be replacing my Tamron 24-70 f2.8, which I'm filming on now actually, on my R6 Mark III. And the main reason why I'm selling that to get this lens is my Tamron doesn't work on my Canon C50. So hopefully the 28-70 comes today, and hopefully it lives up to what I expect it to be, because I was debating whether that I order 24-70 f2.8. There's a little bit of a worry from me for the 28-70 with the design, but I'll show you that when it does come, because I'm hoping it's not too annoying. And there's also another lens that I might want to pick up soon as well, but I'm not sure which one. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So I've just been doing some editing on my latest YouTube video. While I'm editing this now, I just quickly looked at the shipment and I knew it would come today. It's out for delivery. So hopefully the new lens will come soon. But also because that's 28mm, I'm missing out on the 24mm. I'm actually looking at now to either get the Canon RF 16-28 f2.8, which is basically the same lens as the 28-70, or I'm looking to get a 24mm f1.4. 24mm f1.4 is something I'm really looking into, and something that I really like the look of. And I also sold my 16-35mm f4, so that's why I'm looking at either one of these lenses. I'm not sure what to do, because if I get the 24mm, that's going to be the widest lens I have. I'm mainly going to try and prioritize what my weddings are going to be like. So what's going to look nicer, what's going to be sharper, what's going to be better. This is going to be mainly on the gimbal. I love the 24mm look, and I just feel like 24mm on the gimbal at weddings and obviously loads of other projects would just be absolutely amazing. But obviously for my YouTube channel and stuff like that, will I miss not having 16mm? I own the DJI Pocket 3 as well, so that could be my vlogging lens. I'm just unsure on what to get. Will I miss that zoom versatility? Is 1.4 going to be that good, considering I've got 6400 base ISOs on the C50 and the R6 Mark III as well? But 24mm 1.4 is going to look very nice. So leave your thoughts in the comments below which one you think I should get, and I'll keep you updated when this is coming, because it is out for delivery now and I really can't wait to get it. Cheers, mate. Here it is. Let's get this unboxed. So it's arrived. Here it is, and I'm really excited to see what this is all about, because I was a little bit wary on getting this one over the 24-70 because of that one little design flaw that I thought about. But we'll have a look at it, see how annoying it is, and hopefully this is going to be an amazing lens, because for the price this looks so good. Oh, it feels very nice. I'll tell you what, this feels very premium, and it's so tiny compared to my Tamron 24-70. Now, compared to the 24-70 RF version, this is literally pretty much half the size nearly, and half the weight. But to be honest, it's actually a lot heavier than I thought. And in a way, I think that's a good thing, because I'm gonna use this mainly on my C50. With them not having any IBIS, I would actually like it to be quite heavy, so it makes the whole rig heavier, which makes it more stable. This does have optical image stabilization though, which is so nice. But the one annoying thing that I thought with this lens was retractable design. So when you put this lens on the camera like this, it doesn't work. You have to zoom in to 28mm, then you go to 70, then it does get quite long. But this is the thing now, if I want to get from 70mm all the way down to 28mm, will I go past the 28mm and then the lens will turn off? There is a stop there. I think that's good. I think that's okay. That's the one thing that I was worried about. You have to give it a good pull. That is okay, that is one thing that I'm happy about, because I really didn't want to get into a wedding like halfway through, go from 70mm and then go past it and then lose the shot. I think that'll be fine. Okay, when you do it a lot, it does go past, so you do have to be quite careful. I'm really excited to start using this lens. Saving half the price on this compared to the 24-70 I think is great, because it is meant to have the same optical quality. If I'm gonna be picking up the 16-28 or maybe the 24mm 1.4, maybe that'll be a really nice combo. So I've got the 28-70 on my C50 as like my handheld rig, and then if I do get the 24mm 1.4, that means I've got a really nice prime lens, I've got my 24mm back, and that'll be like my gimbal lens as well. But anyway, look at the difference in in size and weight between the Tamron and my new Canon 28-70. Obviously, this has the EF to RF adapter on, and bearing in mind, it's only smaller because of that weird retractable design. When I do zoom it into 28mm, this is when you can start using the lens. It is a little bit like more in size of the Tamron, but it does go quite long when you are at 70mm. It's still bigger the Tamron, but it's also so much more heavier as well. It is quite nice going from this massive heavy lens, and also the focus it's good on this lens, but you can tell it's an old EF lens for photography, whereas this one is absolutely silent and it's really, really fast as well, just from doing little tests just around the room. But what I'll do now, I'll quickly swap the lens, because at the minute I'm using the 35mm f1.8 to film this A-roll. I'm going to put this on the C50 at 28mm, and you're going to tell me what you guys think of it, and let's see what this lens is all about. Okay, so now we're shooting on the 28-70 f2.8. What does this look like? Does it look nice? If I'm using this lens, like I said, it'll be my C50 lens on a handheld. If I do want to put it on a gimbal, I'm going to need an ND filter. And the ND filter that I'll be using is this Freewell locking VND system. Now, Freewell did send this filter out to me, so I'm really, really grateful for that. This video is not sponsored by Freewell, but I did say I would speak about it in some future videos because this filter is really, really cool. It is literally just lock on and it's on. And the great thing about these is that they're fully stackable. So not only do you get a 3 to 7 stop CPL and VND filter, but you also get in the kit a 32 ND system, so you can change it up to a 10 stop VND. All you have to do is line up the sides, lock them on, you got an ND32 on. If you get the mega kit, you can actually get a glow and a snow mist filter as well. This is a 1/4 snow mist filter. If you line them up perfectly, you've now got a mist filter, an ND32 filter on the front as well. They are fully secure and it's super fast as well. And another thing about this system that I really like, if you are going for the snow or glow mist look and you've got it outside, well, as soon as you go inside, well, you're not going to want an ND filter on, are you? Because obviously it's going to get dark. You can use the snow mist and the glow mist filters on their own. It just works the exact same as the ND. You just squeeze it, you pop it on the front of the lens and you're ready to go. So it's super, super quick. The build quality of it is amazing. The CPL filter is really nice. It's really, really smooth to actually change from 3 to 7 stops, and also the back cap actually acts as a grey white balance card, so you can get perfect white balance wherever you are, which is a really, really cool feature. I absolutely love this ND filter. I can't wait to test it out even more, and if you did want to go purchase it, I will leave a link in the description below for you to go purchase, and it will help me out because it is an affiliate link. So thank you very much for Freewell for sending this over to me, and yeah, let's get back to the video. One thing that I do love about this lens already is from the focusing noise. Like I said, it's super, super quiet. The STM motors on the 35mm prime I really don't like because they're super loud and it is just not as fast either. Now the STM focus motor on these new lenses, they've improved the STM motor a lot compared to the old 35mm. I think because this being a macro lens doesn't help with it zooming in and out being really slow and fast, but the new focusing on these new lenses look really, really nice. And with obviously this being a budget lens, this is Canon's way of kind of saying, look, we don't need third-party lenses like Tamron and Sigma for you to come over, because we're making our own native versions. And I actually really like that. Obviously they've got the 45mm f1.2 now, they've got the 16-28 f2.8, they've got these really nice budget prime lenses. So do you need third-party lenses for the Canon RF mount system when, even though Sigma and Tamron make amazing lenses, when Canon are making lenses like this and the 45mm f1.2, do we even need full frame third-party lenses? So my first impressions of this lens is actually pretty cool. I really like the compactness of it, and not only is this going to be my main handheld lens for like weddings and just any kind of corporate work and a lot of this YouTube channel, it's probably going to be my main lens for travel as well, because it is such a versatile focal range and it is so small and it is so light as well. So I'm really looking forward to testing this lens out more. I will do a full review on it in the future, so if you are interested in that, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss that video, because this is definitely going to be a workhorse of a lens for me, just like my Tamron 24-70. Paired out with the image stabilization, I do think this is going to be an absolute brilliant lens, and I will give my full thoughts on it in a future video. So if you'd, like I said, if you did enjoy, hit that subscribe button and watch one of these videos next that I have made on the Canon RF6 Mark II or the Canon C50. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.